What is happening, SteelerNation? Welcome. Welcome to the latest episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, live from the Steel Basement, aka the Virtual Shore. What is happening, folks? Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're feeling a little better here on Tuesday, better than you was on Sunday after another loss. Hey, yeah, man, that's just one of those seasons. It's our turn. That's all I got for you. But hey, we're still going to talk about the Steelers. We're still going to show love for the Steelers. You guys are going to be tested as far as your fanism. The real fans are going to show up. The not so real fans are going to show themselves as well. But this is where we are. So let's get right into it. Let me cut my timer on. Boom. Of course, what we're going to talk about tonight, a few little things. For once, I am going to try to be as brief as I can so I can get to the callers earlier. But, what I usually do on Tuesdays, I'll give you a couple points that I took from Tomlin's presser. Tomlin Tuesday, injury report stuff, reflections on the Bengal loss, and my current thoughts on Kenny Pickett. And this is going to be a continuous thing, a continuous evaluation, a slow evaluation. I am not like some people who feel like they know exactly what Kenny Pickett is, what he's going to be, and what he eventually will do. I don't know that today. I can only judge this stuff as it goes along and as it progresses slowly, both him and just the changing of the guard. All right, so that's what we'll talk about, and then I'll get to the phone calls, and then we'll get up out of here. So first, let's say hello to the early commenters. Always want to do that. So hello to James Tresvant, Ron Simpson Gaming, Dietrich Bundick, Zuri Rivers, Vista Light. Hello, Miss Lanisha in the building once again. Hello, Lanisha. Hope you're doing great tonight. Fellas, make sure you take time to say hello to the lovely ladies. So I shouldn't have to ask, right? Make sure you guys do that. Lydell Dorsey, Jason Durden, Mr. Winningham, how you doing tonight, sir? Joshua Shields, Reggie Reg, Charlie Brown, who else? T-Dog, Leonard, father-in-law Leonard in the building, my man White Diggy, Brent Fox, my man. Who else we got up in here? Stoned and Confused the News. I like that. Love that name every time I see it. And T-Dab 804 in the building. Cap City in the building. And if you ain't from the 804, you don't even understand what that means. All right, let's get to it. C. Antoine Hill, what's up, man? What's going on? He just made it into the roll call. All right, let's talk about it, man. So first thing I think I'm going to get into, let me get my notes here. Give me a second to pull them up. I guess we could talk a little bit about Tomlin's points. Not a whole lot on that bone today, as he likes to say. Didn't give too much significant information. I actually didn't even note down anything that was asked of him. I didn't think there were any real questions asked of him that deserved, any acknowledgement of me. Maybe some of you guys heard something differently, but, he did talk about. It was interesting that, and I'll get to this a little bit later, but he did reference a little bit about, maybe there was some repeated concepts when it comes to Canada, but then he went on to allude that also the Bengals did that. So, Tomlin's not going to drag anybody in the public, but I'm definitely going to address what was said by Jermaine Pratt a little bit later here in a moment. But yeah, I took from that, he kind of said he's, George Pickens is maturing fast, and he expects that to continue even at an accelerated rate, because he basically said Pickens is showing that he's able to do that. So that's always a good sign. I mean, again, some of you guys were opposed to us re-signing Deontay Johnson, before we signed him. And even at that time, when I didn't know what Deontay Johnson's future was, I remember saying, well, George Pickens is a natural X. This guy's versatile, but he was the dog in college. So if we would have gone away from Deontay, if we didn't elect to extend him, I was thinking that maybe you groomed George Pickens to take that spot. But even with him being the quote unquote number 2 guy, clearly you're seeing that George Pickens is going to become a very valuable target, and it could get ugly quick, right? And that's why I'm looking forward to the future, man. We got a nice young core of guys who are going to be together for a moment, especially at the wide receiver position. You add another little piece in there, but just that 1-2 right there, a Deontay Johnson and a George Pickens could be very, very tough for opposing teams. Just think back to the days of Antonio Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster. Those were really the main two guys. And, Juju was able to get off and eat very well because of the attention that AB would draw. So you could potentially be back in that situation where both Pickens and or Johnson will eat because of the other. So I'm looking forward to that, man. And then who knows what happens when Calvin Austin, if he gets on the field. I don't want to put this on him, but hopefully we're not dealing with the Sinquez Golson situation with Austin. So I'm going to just put it in the air that he will be playing next year. So it will be interesting to see those three guys on the field together when you have a guy in Austin, another piece that you throw out there that can take the top off of a defense. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out when those three guys are on the field together. So, that's a positive spot that I can look forward to in the future. But like I said, other than that, he also talked a little bit about Kenny Pickett and kind of said that, he's progressing the way you would expect. He said, could it be faster? Sure. Nobody's patient. He basically said you get better as you work. And he said nobody is patient, not even Kenny Pickett, but he's acknowledging the fact that, due time. And, I think we all should be able to acknowledge that. Some of us won't, but you should be. But like I said, other than that, I don't have any real notes from Tomlin. It wasn't a whole lot that he gave me today, other than, he talked about the injuries. He says that Miles Boykin has an abdominal injury. Jalen Warren dealing with a hamstring. He says it's not a significant hamstring issue. And then also Mason Cole is expected to be available by the end of the week. Didn't really say what Mason Cole's was. I didn't watch Tomlin's post-game presser, so I'm not sure if they mentioned why Cole went down. I knew somebody had to go down because I noticed that Hassenauer was in the game later on. But either way, all three of these guys was more so participation will be the guide in terms of whether they will, play or not. I would be interested in hearing, I don't think he shared this today. I want to hear more about Akello. What's going on there? Because at the cornerback position, man, it's, we've been forced to use a lot of Arthur Marlette in the slot. I noticed that he primarily stayed in the slot in this game. And, I want to get that rotation again where we can throw Cam Sutton inside. And maybe because Cam Sutton has played fairly well on the outside, the Steelers are comfortable with him and Levi Wallace. Obviously, Levi's playing good, and they're rolling the dice with a guy like Marlette. I shout outs to Alex Kazur in case he sees this. I know Alex said that, the Steelers would probably need to work a little more Trey Norwood in the slot because, Marlette gets picked on from time to time. Had a good game, against who was that we played before these guys? Was it the Eagles? Yeah. I think that was the Eagle game, I think. I can't keep up now. Who did we play last? We just played, obviously, Cincinnati. Who did we play before that? It was the Eagles, right? Whichever game that was where he made the great play. No. It wasn't the Eagles. What game did we just win? I'm tripping. Somebody help me in the chat, man. My memory is fading. Who was that we played? Our last win that we got? The Saints. Thank you. The Saints. Thank you. Thank you, guys. See, when the team is not winning and it's not much to talk about, you kind of forget the basic stuff. So appreciate y'all reminding me of that. It was the Saints. But yeah, Marlette played great in that game. Had a nice PBU. Excellent play. Remember, I even talked about how good his coverage was, but, he is somewhat of a guy that you pick on and somewhat of a liability, against certain guys in the slot. So I would be curious to hear what's going on with Akello. Also, just long term, I still think the cornerback position could use another guy, a stud, like a youth guy, a guy that you can get in the draft. Hopefully, if we pick somebody early, we don't miss on them because our track record hasn't been that great. But that cornerback position is interesting, man, because again, Akello missing significant time, and then William Jackson the third on IR, and it's kind of like, how's that going to play out? Are they going to play what he's expecting? Are they going to pay what he's expected to earn next year? So keeping my eye on that. But other than that, man, that's all I got as far as Tomlin. I wasn't anything else that I felt like I needed to talk about. Let's talk a little bit about Jermaine Pratt, man. And I'm going to take me a quick sip of water if you guys don't mind. So, Jermaine Pratt said something that I don't think is surprising to any of us. He basically, and I'm paraphrasing here, he basically said that they knew what we were going to do because we run the same plays. Let me give you guys a great example that all of you should remember, because we didn't run this play that much this game, even though Matt Canada normally loves the jet sweep. We didn't run the jet sweep that much, so you guys all will remember the jet sweep that we ran to Steven Sims. And I think that was to start the second half. I think it was on that drive, and it was like a loss of 4 yards or so. Because guess you know who made the tackle? Jermaine Pratt. And as Leonard is my witness, I turned to Leonard, and Leonard saw me have a moment. I was like, man, what did you running that for? Why did you run that against that formation? It's like they was waiting for that. I was going crazy. Jermaine Pratt made the tackle. So then you hear after the game, he says that. And I'm like, see? Now, is it coincidence? No. I think there is some merit to what Jermaine Pratt was saying. It's predictable. All of us have said at times Matt Canada gets predictable. Again, I'll give Matt Canada a little bit of credit for this game, maybe the last game. I have seen a little more mix and rotation of his play calls. But like I said, his problem is he falls back in love with being predictable, overly predictable, especially when it's possession downs. And it's weird. It's like I can't really say there's a moment where I liked the majority of Matt Canada's calls. Again, I talked about this after the game, and I watched the game a little while ago. Got through about the first half of the All-22. I liked the play call when Kenny Pickett picked up the third down himself. Remember, there was the play he ran. It was a zone read. He kept it, ran around the edge, only got about a yard or so. Comes back on the very next play, he keeps it again, and he picks up about 15 yards or so. And I said to Leonard then, I like that play call. Even before we ran it again. Even when we only got a yard, I said, okay, I like that, Canada. I like you infusing that, because now let's put the threat on the defense. Let's use his legs. Let's use it at least as a decoy to make the defense have to honor that. And that's something we haven't done a lot this year with Trubisky or Kenny Pickett. We're not utilizing that aspect. At least just to keep a team on their toes. Sometimes you got to run it and let the quarterback do some design runs or some, zone reads to make the defense have to honor it. So even before he ran it back to back, I was like, that's a good play. Doesn't always work. Great plays don't always work. And that's why I'm different than some viewers. I don't judge a good and bad play or good and bad play calling based on the result. Excuse me. I look at the design and whether or not it worked. As far as the design. Now, it could get stuffed, but I'm just looking at like, that could have worked if this would have. So I liked him doing that. But there's way too many times that I'm looking at Matt Canada in my mind, and I'm like, what are you calling? Why call that? Some of his route concepts has gotten better. We've been running a lot of Yankee concepts. We've been running a lot of mesh, right? Instead of just doing what he was doing earlier on in the season quite often, when it's third and long, he was just running vertical routes. And, I'm talking about traditional vertical routes, not, routes that are beyond 10 yards or so. I'm talking about traditional fly or deep comebacks. That was his go-to. And he's not doing that as much anymore, but there's still other times. In a nutshell, he's too predictable, man. And to hear Jermaine Pratt say that, and then Jermaine Pratt having a play that he made that validates that he knew what was coming. You guys were going to see the All-22, and I'm going to get that out to you guys. My goal is before Thanksgiving. You know, if I could get to it, maybe, probably not tonight, but I probably will have time during the day tomorrow to get to it. You're going to see it because I'm going to show that play that he blew up. Jermaine Pratt was sitting all on it. He sat down on it. And he made a lot of plays in this game, just regular tackles. How he shot the gap is almost like he knew exactly what was coming. Like even the ones when we were running like the fake motion, you know, you just put a guy in motion like we're going to run the jet and you hand it off to Najee. He's jumping it. So there may be some merit to what he was saying. Round of applause to the infamous Tim. Appreciate the donation. Oh. Hold on. I just hit the button and it shut down on me. Hold on. Let's bring it back up. But round of applause to the infamous Tim. We appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. He says, if Matt Canada donated $1 every time this offense went 3 and out, he'd be able to pay TJ's yearly salary. Love the show. Well, thank you, man. Love your viewership. But you're absolutely right. It's crazy, man. It's and I think we all have gotten to this point. You know, I admittedly was giving Matt Canada a longer leash than maybe others because I still felt like there's things that he could do to design a more structured offense for the talent that he has. But it's just not enough there. Again, it doesn't necessarily mean the play has to work. I just want to see design. And I'm just not seeing design enough to where I feel confident. But again, you know, if what some of you guys were telling me is true, if in fact he does have one more year in his contract, I just want to caution everyone from hoping that this is his last season. Because again, we know how it traditionally works in the Steeler organization. I know some of you say, well, Mike Tomlin is in control over his staff. Very well may be. But I think the firing would have to be a cosign of the Rooney family. And traditionally, we don't traditionally see the ownership fire coaches. What we usually see them do is they allow contracts to expire. They don't renew. That's equivalent to them firing. So if that is the case, and if Matt Canada does have one more year, just leave a little bit of expectation in your minds that he will be back. So that way you're not overly shocked or disappointed. Let's get to the next thing, man. So I guess I'll wrap this up before I get to the phone calls. We'll talk a little bit about, one other thing. I know you guys probably were shocked when I said this on Sunday, but I'm going to say it again after watching just the first half of the All-22. Devin Bush is playing a lot better. Yeah. Devin Bush is playing well, guys. Is he making a lot of splash plays? Maybe not. Is he making a lot of plays that jumps off the screen? Depends on who's watching. It depends on who's watching. If you watch the game intently like I do, and I'm always checking to see who was on the tackle, who was around the ball, who was on the coverage, who tackled the catch, things of that nature, then I would say, yeah, there was moments that was jumping off that I was like, ooh, okay, Bush, during the game. And then as I watched the All-22 and I hear that it's even more to see in the second half, Bush is playing well, man. I'm sorry. And this is why I always say, I caution myself, man, and I caution you guys as viewers from beating up players so bad and just losing all hope. Like, all of these guys have the potential to turn things around. The question is always, will they? You understand what I'm saying? Like, if a guy's not playing well early, if a guy's not playing well at a certain point that you think he should, there's always the opportunity to turn it around. Now, like I said, has he been a world beater? No. Maybe not making the splash plays, but has he been a solid contributor and helping to keep the lid on certain things when it comes to the run game and sideline to sideline stuff and chasing stuff down? Yeah. His name is Devin Bush. He's not 55 to me anymore. Nah, it's just my opinion. And like I said earlier, said it on Sunday, I'd bring him back, man, because it's a sweet spot right now, I think, for Devin Bush. His stock ain't going to be that high because he hasn't played great up to this point, right? I think his stock is going to be very similar to Terrell Edmonds' stock last season, where maybe he tests free agency, but maybe he's not getting the bite he wants. He's not going to get the payday. So it might make more sense for him to stay home. And if you can make that happen, I'd bring him back. I definitely would bring him back, as well as keep Miles Jack on that second year, as well as bring another guy in. Bring another guy in, or can you develop Mark Robinson? Spillane is a free agent. I'm going to be honest right now. And Spillane has played decent as well, but the way I sit today, if I had to make a decision on one or the other to bring back, I'm taking Bush. And I let Spillane walk, and I try to develop Mark Robinson, and I draft a guy. That's where I sit today. But Bush, a couple of things that I notated here. Way more decisive than he has been. He's now attacking instead of waiting. You see it, that burst to the ball, to the play. It was one play in the first half. I think it was in the second quarter where he was covering number 11 for the Bengals. And I mean, he was in man. He chased him down, damn near got him behind the line. Like Bush is playing well, man. And I'm happy for that. I'm happy anytime a player on our squad is playing well. I don't ever root against the player. Even if a guy to me was trash a year before and they come back in the next season and play great, I'm going to say good. That's what we want. So that's where I sit today. Definitely he's playing better football. There was one moment though. Also, I want to say this might have been the first quarter. He got caught on, was it Hurst? One of those guys. I think it was Hurst. One of those dudes. It was him, and he kind of had his zone area. We were running zone, and Cam Sutton, went towards the out route because the number one on that side ran an out, and Bush followed him instead of staying in his zone, and Burrow threw it right behind him, and there was like a sizable pickup for them. So I did write that down. There was a time when he was out of position in the zone, but again, I'm not asking these dudes to be perfect. I just want to see guys play well. Everybody's going to make a bad play. All right. But, I think that's all I got. So let me get to the Kenny stuff, man. And I'm opening it up to phone calls. Listen, this is just my assessment. And again, let me take a deep breath and a sip of water so I can get into my bag a little bit here. It's like it says in the title. This is my opinion and my opinion only. Kenny Pickett is slowly progressing. What he's also still doing, though, is what I talked about on Sunday. There's still moments where Kenny will force a ball into coverage. Remember I talked about him forcing the ball to, I want to say it was either Freiermuth or Gentry, and it was triple coverage. Go back and look at that play and look at the rest of the field. All he has to do is kind of look in the same direction, and he has a man wide open. He has Connor Hayward wide open. Kenny still, at times, he's getting a little bit better with it, and I don't know if it's the play call that it forces him to go through his progressions, and there's some play calls where it's just run one read, but he still will lock on run one read for quite a long time. The play to George Pickens, the one that was kind of behind Pickens, it was like a little, like kind of a slant early in the game. I mean, from the word hut, he's like this. And then he throws it behind Pickens. If he puts it in front of him, he might still complete it, but He never looked off anything else. He didn't look off the safety. He didn't act like he was going this way and then come back. He's watching the solo man, and he's waiting for him to go into his break, and then he's throwing the ball. So if you're going to do that, Kenny, what you also need to do is do more of what we saw you do in preseason. We know you're capable. We saw you do it in game as well to Freiermuth both times. In preseason, how you anticipated the throw with pressure in your face. We need you to see more of that. You know, even if you're going to stare down your target, and if it's man or whatever, throw the ball to where you expect them to be. Don't wait until they make their break and then you try to lead them. Little stuff like that he needs to clean up. But like I said, there are other times I'm noticing him go through his progressions. There are sometimes he's making the predetermined read before the hut, you know, but it's deserving. I'll explain that in a minute. What else did I write about Kenny? I wrote here that he showed good progress with his first shot to Pickens in the first quarter. He didn't take the check down. He trusted the offensive line. So there was a play in the first quarter. I can't really say exactly when it happened, but, you know, it was the first kind of like shot that he threw to George Pickens, the first successful catch to him. And like I said, he took his shot. Check down is wide open, but he trusted it. It was open. It was the one where they ran like I think it was a Yankee concept where you had, it was the one I think both him and Deontay was kind of running like the over. And he read it. He saw George coming this way, you know, coming across from his right to the left. And he threw it, you know, this way, and Pickens caught it. Y'all know that one where they both kind of crossed. Check downs are wide open. I mean, he got Najee. I think he got Freiermuth. But I liked the fact that he took the shot because he saw that Pickens was running by himself and running into an area where only one man was going to be there. Threw the ball in front of him. It's an explosive play. I appreciate that. And the reason why I wrote he trusted his offensive line, because you guys have heard me say earlier in previous weeks that it's like he doesn't trust the protection. There were times in games in the past where, I mean, he got all day, but he's rushing it. He checks it down instead of waiting for the. Remember when I said sometimes he didn't allow the play itself to progress, and he has a better shot downfield? Well, on that time, he did exactly that. Trusted that protection, held that ball. Probably it looks like about 3 to 4 seconds. It seemed like had plenty of time, and he let it rip. That was good. I wanted to talk a little bit about that back shoulder throw that he threw to Najee. This one was probably a little predetermined. We did have someone else open underneath. I think Deontay was coming across, you know, again, flashing from his right to the left, and his man is behind him. I think if you hit Deontay, he's going to be able to get the first down. However, I'm not upset with Kenny going to Najee in that situation because he recognized Hendrickson is covering him. That is called a mismatch. Nice back shoulder throw. Najee's got to come down with that catch. So in instances like that, I don't want people to misconstrue what I say sometimes when I'm like, man, you got to come off the first read. No, there are most plays you have a primary, right? To me, when it's bad, it's when a quarterback just stares the primary down and they don't leave it. And then when that person ain't open, now they're in trouble. You know, the good quarterbacks, I won't even say elite, I would just say good. Good quarterbacks, he get that first read and they diagnose already if that's going to become open. And within a second, they know, nope, that's covered. Let me go somewhere else. You got to have that in the NFL. You have to have that. You cannot stare down that primary read because the defense also knows that clock is ticking in your head. And that's how sometimes guys are able to jump routes, i.e. little cuz picking off Kenny Pickett in the Dolphins game. Remember? 3rd and 16. And Kenny is just looking at Muth and Javon Holland is able to just say, all right, I know where he's going. And he jumped him. See what I'm saying? They know. It's a clock. Good defenders know that clock. That's why the whole thing about manipulating with your eyes is a thing because it's all on a time clock. Defenders don't have all the day in the world to just sit there and not react. They have to commit also. So Yeah, man, it's little stuff like that. But like I said, I understand why he went to Hendrickson in that situation. I mean, that's a matchup Najee is supposed to win. Like I said, good coverage by Hendrickson, but Najee, it hit you in your hands. You got to come down with that, brother. You have to. I wrote here, Kenny also makes a great read with the touchdown to George Pickens. That was great. That was the one when Pickens ran like that corner route. This is a time when the predetermined read makes sense. You got bunch on that side. You were able to determine that it was man, right? Because they were giving you a man look. They basically gave you a cover one look, which sometimes you can disguise cover three and make it look like cover one and vice versa, because the way you line up, you can make them look like the same coverage, right? But also we knew that it was man because they had Steven Sims in motion. And you saw the realignment by the defense when he came back. That's a time where a quarterback is going to say, all right, if I get my look, if I get man, I'm going here. Perfect read, perfect route. Pickens is wide open. Bang, money, touchdown. So it's stuff like that. And this is what I'm saying. That was an excellent throw by him as well. Kenny has it, man. I really feel that. And I will die on that sword until he proves me wrong. He has something. What we have to wait and see is whether or not he's going to fully develop it. But yeah, he has something, bro. He absolutely has something. Like I said, some of y'all discount this. He has the moxie. He has that dog in him, in my opinion. He's a competitor. And I like that. You know, this is not a direct comparison, folks. Okay, let me say that closer. This is not a direct comparison. But Kenny Pickett, his attitude on the field gives me the feeling that what I fell in love with about Big Ben. Ben was gutsy and he was a competitor. He was a baller. Takes a shot, get up, talking. You're like, Kenny got that. Hanging in the pocket, you know, even though Ben would move around. But a couple times, this is another thing where Kenny improved. Stepped up in the pocket in this game. Sometimes he hung in there and ate it. Knew the hit was coming and delivered a strike. That's the kind of stuff that you want to see out of your quarterback. You understand what I'm saying? And again, no, he's not Ben Roethlisberger, but I'm talking about those things, the little intangibles that I loved about Ben when I was getting to know Ben as a quarterback over the years. I see Kenny got some of that. He got some of that dog in him, man. And that's the type of quarterback I want any given day. So like I said, what's he going to turn out to be? We'll see. And if it means 3 years from now we're drafting another quarterback, then hey, we'll go through this process again. But I am not out on Kenny at the moment. I am not even down on Kenny at the moment. Like I put in the title, SteelerNation, be patient. This is not going to be a flash in the pan, but keep watching. I think you're slowly starting to see what the kid will be able to bring and what he has to work on. So going into next season, we'll come back and say, oh, he did fix that. Oh, he got better at that. Or we might be saying, that's still a problem. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, allow it to happen, man. And it's not going to happen overnight like that. Just my opinion. That might be all I got. Let's see. Was there anything else? I already talked about it. I said Kenny stepped up in the pocket. Yeah, Kenny showed me a little something in this game, man. I haven't got through the second half yet, and I know we kind of collapsed in the second half. So, maybe you'll hear me have a different sentiment for you guys who are going to see the 22 with me. And maybe next week, y'all might be talking a different tune after I watch specifically as to what happened in the second half. But I think that first half, and shout outs to my man Adam Steele, another YouTube guy. Adam mentioned, and I couldn't agree more. He thinks the first half kind of really showed you the potential that this team has offensively, even though we still only scored 20 points as a total. But I think you're starting to see what this offense might be able to do, even if we're not talking Matt Canada, just in general, as far as the pieces we have in place. And it's a little bit encouraging, even as we sit at 3-7. It's, I'm looking ahead. And yeah, we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. Other than that, is there anything else I wanted to cover? I think that's all I got. And I'm ready for calls. I feel like there's one other thing that I had about Kenny. Oh, what a ball he threw on that late in the fourth quarter that just off the fingertips of George Pickens. Y'all know my thing. I'm going to get on Pickens a little bit because if it hits your hands, you're supposed to catch it. But I will say, when you watch the replay, the ball was like at his tips. That probably was going to be tough to bring in. But what a ball. And see, that's what I'm talking about, man. If Kenny can make them type of throws against a cover 2 look, okay. All right. So, yeah. But all right, man, that's all I got. Let's get to these phone calls, man, and then we can get up out here. Let's see what we got. How many we got? All right, we got 5. Y'all, listen, y'all know the routine, man. In and out. Don't spend too much time. We got to keep it consistent with the shortness. I will do the same with my responses. So let me stop talking and get to the first one. First in the queue, area code 318. What you got for us?
Whoa, what's up, Bob?
What's going on?
Man, first one, I like to give love to both teams. They went out there, played their hearts out. But basically, honestly, our defense really ain't played as bad as it may have seemed. I feel like, with the offense going 3 and out so many times and, we're not putting too many points. Yeah, it's so much our defense can do. You can't let Joe Burrow get the ball in his hands that many times and, with that many opportunities and expect nothing to happen with his caliber of play. And I just feel like, the offense is coming together, but Canada seems like when we get a lead, even he seemed like we're about 30 and he just want to be so conservative.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just kind of, and it's just heartbreaking that we're losing games that we can win. That's really. Man. I know you be playing video games since this the last thing, man. I've been waiting so long for that boxing game, undisputed boxing game, for the beta. I've been waiting 2 years to finally, get the gameplay, and I miss my brother text because he has a PC. I missed his text saying he had a beta. He got the beta code, and I'm jealous that he got to play it. But that's it. Y'all have a good night.
Yeah, man, I feel you. Yeah, man, that game is gonna be special, I think, man. I got a video out there for anybody who cares to watch it. Kind of showing you the gameplay, but yeah, y'all know how big I am on boxing, so I share that with 318. I think the game is gonna be really good. Really quick, let me comment on a couple of things you said. And by the way, man, excellent comments. I agree with with everything you said. Really, let's talk about what you said about Canada, man. This is something I used to say even years ago, before Canada, before Fichtner probably. The Steelers seem like they don't have that knockout punch mentality when they get a lead. Don't sometimes it hurt when you see other teams like people can say what they want about the Patriots and during that era. Man, one thing I always respected about the Patriots with Tom and Brady and McDaniels, when their foot was on your neck, they tried to stomp you out. Kansas City will do that at times. They try to bury you. And our Steelers teams just don't do that, man. I'm with you, man. It seems like we get a lead and we just fall in love with conservative, man. Like, nah, bro. Let's leave no doubt. Let's leave no doubt. And actually, I'll end it right there because I don't want to go too long with my replies if I'm going to ask you guys to be short. But yeah, great call. Area code 803, that's Mr. Winningham. How you doing tonight, sir?
Good evening, everyone. There were two things that happened Sunday that surprised me. I thought our defense was going to do a whole lot better, and they did, like the caller previously said, but giving up 2 90-yard drives in the fourth quarter is what did us in as a team. Secondly, like you said, Matt Canada has to put his foot on team's neck. You gotta you got to kill an ant with a sledgehammer sometime. And, you know, that's the way football used to be, and I'm hoping that we can get that way. I do believe Kenny Pickett, with this offseason, will improve immensely. He will improve a lot. I see our offensive line. Najee Harris had 2 good games in a row. But the offensive line, I mean, if I was Kenny Pickett or Najee, I guess sometime I would get a little skittish. But we got some things to look forward to. I thought we were going to win that one, but hopefully we can go into Indianapolis, shut down that running game of the Bears, and come out with the victory. Thank you so much. Everybody, please have a safe and blessed Thanksgiving.
Oh, man. Thank you, Mr. Winningham. And same to you, man. Have a blessed one. Enjoy family. Enjoy watching football, eating, and just, you know, all that encompass that time of the year. And, you know, I'll selfishly say this ain't the show for it. I'll leave that alone. But I'll just say, you know, I take Thanksgiving for what it is, as what we do during that day, as opposed to celebrating it. And some of you guys will understand where I'm going with that. But like I said, this ain't the show for it. I'll leave that alone. But Mr. Winningham did hit on something. You know, a couple games in a row where Najee has solid games. And I wanted to hit on this too, because 318 said this, and Mr. Winningham just said it as well, and it reminded me. It does hurt, man. Even though I don't expect this team to do anything this season, I've been saying that. It do hurt to see us lose games that we easily feel like, I don't want to say easily to disrespect the team, but you feel like, yo, this is a game that you could have won. I don't care if we are 0-16 and we play that last game. I'm going to be mad if we go 0-17 off of a game that we could have won that last week. It always hurts. What's up, Ghost Marley? Yeah, I see you. But yeah, man, it just hurts to see that, man. So you just want to see these guys play well. And I do agree. I think Kenny Pickett is, you know, playing this season and coming back next year. I think we're going to see something from that kid. Next up, area code 334. What you got for us?
What's up with my man, Sim? Hey, man, I guess Santa Claus won't be coming to the door this year, but that's okay, you know. I really wanted that boy to come and push Pickett, you know, because Tomlin was really saving Pickett. You know, he was really saving him, keep him from going out there and think he can come off from a college perspective and come in the NFL and say he's Peyton Manning throwing the ball over the field, but it don't work like that. You know, you got to get the ball out of your hand, you know. But I've seen his progress, and I'm impressed. I don't think he's nowhere being above. It just sometimes when he's in the pocket, he get a little timid because I don't think he trusts his left side, his blind side. And if Pittsburgh found them a left tackle, I think that boy he's gonna be amazing. It's just the thing I love about him, he's eager to be a winner. He's eager to learn more. And sometimes you just have to be patient. You know, don't put a lot on him. Just keep on what you're doing. Keep giving him the fundamentals of the game. Keep teaching discipline. And I can ride all the way out to the rest of the season with that because I know we're not going to go far. But through being disciplined and knowing the basics of playing this NFL football will really help this young team. So I got thumbs up. The future for Pittsburgh is bright, man. And one more thing before I go. I can't get over the night when Najee leaped over that cornerback. It looked like he was running from the police.
Yeah.
And he leaped over him with the ball in his left hand and his right hand going over the fence like he's running from someone. I said, man, that was so beautiful. I wish I had a camera where I could rewind that over and over because it was so beautiful. That man is a star. For all y'all think that he's above, You are out of your mind. He comes from Alabama, play boy. I'm out.
My man 334. I really appreciate that call tonight, man. You said a lot of things I agree with. Like you said, man, look, Kenny, I think Kenny got something, man. Let's just be patient. Let's be patient. You know, we already probably having a losing season, so let's embrace this and be patient with him, man. I think he's gonna be fine. We got nothing else to do. We have nothing else to do but to wait and watch. And yeah, man, Najee, he scares me sometimes with that leaping though, man. I don't want him leaving his feet so much because he's a big man, you know, and that's a lot of weight you coming down on, and you know you land the wrong way, you know. But yeah, I like Najee too, man. I hopefully Najee has gotten that dancing out of his system, and he hits the hole and hits it hard like he has done in the last couple of weeks. So yeah, I think he'll be fine, but we'll see. Next up, area code 951. What you got for us?
Hey, Sim, thanks for taking my call. I
Yes,
just
sir.
had a real quick question for you guys out there. When it comes to the usage of Spillane and Millette, specifically on downs where everybody knows the other team has to throw the ball, right? The defensive coordinator using them so frequently, do you think that's more of a personnel issue to where they don't have many options? Or is it something where our defensive coaches are kind of getting out-schemed and other teams will take advantage of them when they see them on the field? All right, thanks, man. That's all I got.
Man, thanks for the call. And I would definitely answer that, man, and probably I'll share in your question and say I have the same questions too, because you know, from the beginning of this thing, I was trying to figure out why was it that Spillane is out there in dime. Now, I understand sometimes in nickel because, you know, again, just recently rewatching the All-22 and like I'm right through the second quarter before the show started. You know, they play a rotation. So the Steelers rotate the three inside backers, right? And sometimes you're going to see Jack and Bush, which is usually more of the first set in sub, you know, in regular nickel package. But then you'll see another series where it's Jack and it's Bush. Spillane. Then you'll see a series where it's Spillane and Bush. And it's like, okay, I get that. But I have never understood since week one, why is it that Spillane is playing in dime? He's played a lot of a dime backer. Now, Terrell Austin said it has something to do with communication. I'm like, okay, I get it. But now, what we just played week what? Week 11? Was that week 11 game we just played? It's like, by now, come on, man. Like, put the better athlete out there. Put Miles Jack out there. I might even say put Bush out there. Because Bush has played better. As far as he's got his legs back under him now. He's not so timid. So, yeah, I don't know, man. And yeah, I think the defensive coordinators are definitely scheming that against us. Offensive coordinators. I'm saying it wrong. Offensive coordinators, I do believe, is out scheming us at times when they can catch that matchup when we have to walk Spillane out there in the slot or something like that. So, you know, that's just our opinion as fans. But yeah, great question. Next up, area code 412. What you got for us?
Hey, Sam. Hey, SteelerNation. I just wanted to give a little bit of word of encouragement, something that I see that you've been doing pretty much this season and always. SteelerNation, pretty much what I'm trying to sum up and say is when the off-season comes, go back through the Steelers' history and see how they've done things and why they're the first team to win 6 Super Bowls. And you'll understand to be patient with Steelers this year because of, you know, uncharted territory that a lot of us haven't seen in many years. Been a fan since '96. And you had ups and downs, but paying attention to more, the Steelers have a way of doing things. They won 6 Super Bowls for a reason. They have been in a lot of the mix as one of the best teams in the NFL for a reason, because they do a thing a specific way. I know a lot of us want them to start detouring and doing things like the Detroit Lions, the Chicago Bears, or, you know, Cincinnati, Cleveland, those teams that's always down at the bottom of the barrel for the first round, first draft picks, like the first 10 draft picks, but tanking and trying to get down to the bottom that's not a guarantee that you're going to get a good person, a good player. Along with, it doesn't guarantee you that player's going to pan out or whatnot and stuff. Yeah. We've been in the back half for the last 20 years and whatnot, and hell, I guess let's say since Ben's been here, it got us to 3 Super Bowls. We was never really at the top. I mean, down at the bottom and the top 10 and whatnot, picking and whatnot and stuff like that. So trust what the Steelers are doing. I used to say to myself when I was younger, why we ain't doing this? But then I had to realize as I got older, now me staying here in Pittsburgh from Florida or whatnot and stuff like that, that Pittsburgh know what they're doing. You just got to be patient. It looks a little rocky right now. Enjoy the show right now with the youngest. I think it's the first time I ever seen a lot of young guys on the offensive side, this young. Yeah. When Ben got in there, there was a lot of veterans there. So he had a good, thick veteran group there. But this is a nucleus of a lot of young guys. And, when you put a lot of young kids together, you're going to have problems. Ain't no really no older heads on the offensive side that kind of like wrangle them together and whatnot and stuff. Last thing is Najee. I wish he gonna be with us next year. But I just wish he run behind them pads a little bit more. And I don't know if he's that bruiser back, how we want that Steeler back to be. And if he's not, I like how the little dude that just got hurt, Warren, I like how he runs, but if we can get another bruiser back, I would like to. Najee's not that guy. He's trying to shake and bait and whatever else he's trying to do, but he's not that guy. So for people looking for him to thump somebody, that's not him. That's never been him. But thank you, Sim. SteelerNation, keep up the love and the support for the team. Thank you.
Yes, sir, man. Thanks for the call. And that's actually the last call of the night. Great call to wrap up on it. And the overarching topic that my man said was be patient. I'm with him. Be patient. I know it's tough because we ain't used to seeing this. I know, but you got to be patient. We're here now. You got to let this team develop. Again, I said it years ago. Whether I said it publicly or not, I did, but just in case you didn't hear me say it, I said whenever the day came when Ben Roethlisberger was gone, there was going to be a different look to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not so much because Ben Roethlisberger, played the greatest the last 2 seasons, but it's because it's a new day. And when the franchise quarterback goes, there's a whole lot of other turnover, offensive line, all this stuff we're trying to rebuild. That's going to take some time, unfortunately. It just is. Now, it doesn't have to take forever, but it's very possible that it takes a year or 2, right? So, I'm just saying, man. But I do have a question here. I'm coming to the chat right now, and I have 2 questions. The first question I have for my man, Big Noriega. Big Noriega, can you answer this question for me? Were you upset Sunday when the Steelers lost? I want you to answer that question. Were you upset when they lost to the Bengals, the Eagles, and whoever else? I won't even say the first couple losses, but I'll say, were you upset when we were 3-6 and now 3-7? Can you answer that question for me? And then I'm going to get to my second question. He says he's a season ticket holder and he's seen the trash play in person. Okay. But answer that question for me really quick, and then I'm going to move on. I promise you I have a reason for asking. My second question to the chat. Looking at Kenny Pickett at Pitt last season, right? Playing for the Pitt Panthers last season. Compare that to what you're seeing from Bryce Young and CJ Stroud this season. Can y'all tell me where the biggest differences are between those quarterbacks? I'm not talking about NFL. I'm talking about when Pickett played last season and what you're seeing right now from Bryce and CJ. What are the enormous differences between the 3? I want the chat to answer that. And then right now I'm in the chat, so whatever else I see, I will respond to that. But I want you guys to answer that question. And I'm just curious to see how everyone evaluates it. It's not a right or wrong answer. Okay, Big Noriega says, no, I wasn't upset. I knew once we started that trash. Okay, good. See, I want you to stick to that. So what you're saying is you've acknowledged that this season is over and next, because you're already saying that Kenny is going to suck next year. So I'm not going to forget your name. I don't want to see you next year saying anything other than this team is trash and Kenny Pickett is trash. Of course, we can all change our minds, but I'm just having a little fun with you because it's like we predicting the future. And it's fine. You might not be a Kenny Pickett fan. I'm not asking you to be it. I'm just saying it's funny how I don't know how we know these things so soon. That's just me. Maybe you're better than me in that regard. I just don't know how we come to conclusions so fast on football players or any sports players. Granted, there's some people that you could tell that are straight garbage in your opinion. I don't say that about Kenny. But if you feel differently, I respect it. No. So you say the team ain't trash, just the quarterback. No, so what I'm saying is, if that's the case, next year we should be a losing season as well, right? Next year we should be trash too, because the guy at the helm, which is going to be Kenny Pickett. That's all I'm saying, because it sounds like that's what you're saying. Because you said, let's draft Caleb Williams. But what y'all got? Did y'all answer the question about the quarterback? Ghost Marley says not really a difference, to be honest. Okay. Anybody else? Answer the question that I had about Kenny Pickett at Pitt last season in comparison to Bryce Young and CJ Stroud this season. Just those collegiate seasons. What is the overarching differences between the two? Go ahead, Kenyon. I'm sure the chat wants you to answer that. I don't see nobody else really answering it. Yeah, please do, Kenyon. Please answer that. Claude says he thinks Kenny will be fine. Noah says no difference. Marcus Jones says scramble ability. Okay. Big Noriega says, nah, it's funny how y'all wanted to rush this guy to play and he wasn't ready. Now it's excuses. Fans just wanted to bench Najee, but don't want to draft another quarterback to compete with Pickett. Well, let me speak for myself, Big Noriega. Again, I always speak from the Steelers' point of view. I don't think the Steelers are going to draft another quarterback in the first round in 2023. I don't believe that's happening. That's just where I stand. Because if it's not in the first round, it won't be Stroud, it won't be Young, it won't be anybody else. So I don't think that's happening. That's all I'm saying. I'm not sitting here saying that Kenny Pickett is the future. You don't think he's that good. I think he's going to develop, and I think he will be good. I think I see something in him. That's a fair point. So again, let's not do the fan versus fan thing. You think one way, I think another. But I'm speaking in reality. I do not feel like I'm wasting time for myself thinking or hoping that they draft another quarterback, because I don't think the Steelers are going to do that. Not in the first round. That's where I come from with it. It's always about what do I expect or think the team is going to do. Not my personal, because what I personally feel don't mean nothing. I can share that that opinion, but it don't mean a thing when it comes to watching this team that we all follow. It's about what they going to do. Let me see what y'all got. Nobody really answered that question. Ghost Marley said national TV games. Okay. So nobody really answered that question. That's interesting. G-Stack says last season KP was more electric than the QBs this year. KP had more buzz and hype. Last season KP was more accurate than CJ and Young, in my opinion. Kenya says Bryce and CJ are about the same as Kenny, and actually CJ is less athletic than Kenny. Bryce is the more accurate and athletic of all three. Okay, I can go along with that. But the reason why I'm asking this question, folks, hold on. Big Noriega says, I don't think so either. That's why I said, I mean, dog, all right, So I'm going to give you this and then I'm going to get off it. How are we talking about 2024 today? So if that's the position you're taking, my hat's off to you. I give that to you and I just move on. There's no point for me engaging in that because it's like now we're going through a whole entire 2023 season just to get to 2024, which again, it's never a guarantee that we're going to get said player that said fans want said Steelers to draft. So, all right. But respect. I respect your opinion. But the reason why I asked that question, guys, is exactly the reason why I asked that question is because we're talking about college. Some people may or may not have liked Kenny Pickett last year either, but I don't think you could not deny that he played well and he was a winner. You might not have liked him personally, but you cannot deny that. CJ Stroud and Bryce Young are also both in college. So it's funny how we always want to replace a player with an unknown, only because we're basing it. My time is up. I'm going to spend a little more time in here with you guys. We're only basing it off of what we see them do currently in college, which is the same thing I'm sure people who like Kenny Pickett did, as well as the Steelers did last year to draft him. So that's what I'm saying. None of these things are guarantees. I use the same comparison all the time. TJ Watt, do you guys remember that everyone was labeling him as a project? Because he didn't only have but like one real true season where he was an edge rusher. And look what he's turned out to be. Nobody guessed that. And we can't be high and mighty and say, yeah, but the Steelers knew. Yeah, they probably scouted him well. But look at the teams that passed on him. So all I'm saying is everything that we want to see as fans is just potential. None of us know what any of these players are going to turn out to be once they get into the NFL. I mean, sometimes you can see it. I go way back to, I knew Michael Vick was going to have an impact in the NFL. Now, did I think that Vick at the end of his career would win a Super Bowl? I wasn't sure. I just knew he was electric. Boogie, woogie, woogie. I just knew he was electric. There's some players you just know he gonna be nice. But I don't know to what extent. You understand? So again, it's not me coming down on anybody's opinion. I'm just saying I try to speak in reality just so I can keep a sane mind when it comes to the Steelers. Okay, and that's fine. Noriega, you said you're basically telling us that you think we'll be trashed next year. All right, we'll see. Like I said, I'm not going to dispute your opinion. I'm not going to dispute your opinion. And I'm not beefing with your opinion. So we can see eye to eye on that. All right, what else y'all got, man? Give me a few more things before I wrap up. Hello, Debbie. What's going on, Debbie? If you guys haven't already, make sure y'all say hello to Debbie. She says, Kenny had an extra year, so he should be more experienced. Yeah, but I didn't want a QB this year, and I understand Pickett's a rookie and will play like a rookie. You get what you asked for, so stop complaining. Man, I'm going to give Debbie a round of applause, and I'm going to tell y'all why. You know why I'm giving Debbie a round of applause? Debbie was adamant in saying she did not want the Steelers to draft a quarterback. Debbie even was saying that on the draft show that she was on with myself, Kenyon, and Destiny. Debbie stuck into that point. She preferred us to forego drafting the quarterback. She felt like there was other things we could address. She felt like, hey, throw the reindeer out there. Or actually, by that time, we had Trubisky. Hey, as we rebuilding anyway, let's literally use this guy as a bridge, and then we go for a quarterback the following season. That was Debbie's stand, and that's why I wholeheartedly give her a round of applause, because that is exactly what she said, and she's still sticking to that. So I'm not mad at that at all. Mr. Winningham says the next great NFL draft pick at quarterback may be 2 years away. but I don't think this year is going to be a good year in the draft. Yeah, maybe not. Bettsburg says, I ain't saying nothing about a rookie QB until he gets his time to develop. I think we forget the reality of football and, more importantly, the quarterback position. I'm telling you, man, we have a lot of expectations as fans, man. We really do. We really do. And that's the point that where I come from is I try to just have realistic expectations, man. I think maybe I've grown into that quite a bit once I started to quote unquote cover the Steelers. I look at things a little more differently than I did when I was just watching as a fan. You know what I mean? Noriega agrees with Debbie. He says, I wasn't rushing Kenny to be a starter. I feel like he should have sat behind Mitch a whole year. Yeah, and what's funny is y'all would remember I was on that boat too. Because, again, I remember this chat. I watched this chat. I remember how many people disputed me saying, nah, Kenny should play now. A lot of y'all was saying that, and I was like, look, man, this was my position. We drafted him. And I felt like the Steelers were going to go see what they could get out of Trubisky. And if Trubisky played well, Kenny would sit. And I was cool with that. Some of y'all were not. Some of y'all wanted Kenny to play like yesterday. So that's just where a lot of us are different in our opinions. I was fine with Trubisky being the bridge. And did they yank him early? I don't know. We'll never know the real reason why. But I don't think, honestly, Trubisky was playing horrible. But again, if we want to believe what Tomlin said about giving the team a spark, maybe it did at that moment. Maybe that was his feeling. But again, they're never going to tell us the exact reason why. I don't get mad at coaches or players for that, because if I was in that position, I wouldn't tell either. That's in-house business. But I definitely wasn't. I was definitely not rushing him on the field. I was like, nah, man, let him sit. Let him sit. But now that he's on the field, then he got to go through it. And this is it. This is what we're going to go through with this dude, man, as a rookie. But like I said, I do think Kenny has something. I think he does. The biggest question is always going to be, is that going to develop? Has H says, Sim, my question for you, does he look as good as Ben, where Ben was a rookie? Ben's arm and stature were something that made me believe Ben was the guy. I honestly don't see that in KP, but still too early. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I do remember Ben's rookie season. I wasn't scouting and, critiquing these players as intently as I do now, but I can remember a couple things about Ben. Ben was a big boy that was hard to tackle. Ben had a tremendous arm. Listen, Ben, you could arguably say, and I don't know where he ranks, but you could arguably say he's one of those guys that you're going to remember that had a big arm, in NFL history, and you could be talking about a pool of 50 guys, but I'm just saying, I don't think Ben Roethlisberger's name comes up and people says he didn't have an arm, especially when he was in his prime. I don't see that from Kenny. I didn't see that from Kenny when he was drafted. However, Ben Roethlisberger also didn't have to pass as much as we do in today's football. The game was different back then. Ben Roethlisberger had a running game and Jerome Bettis and others. Ben Roethlisberger had an elite defense that carried a lot of the team. Remember, we weren't scoring a lot of points. We didn't have to score bunches of points back then. It was a different football game. It was way different in 2004. So that's not necessarily a fair comparison. But if we're just talking about arm, nah. I don't see the big arm out of Kenny. What I have seen out of Kenny is like, okay, Kenny can make an occasional throw or so. But I don't see the Josh Allen type arm talent. Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson. Again, I'm naming top tier guys, but again, that's who you compare it to. Because the rest of the guys are lukewarm. Hey, I don't even see, and some people don't agree with this, I don't even see a Dak Prescott level of arm. on Kenny at the moment. He's going to have to work on it. So we'll see. All right, a few more. Sonny Rothmiller says Ben was called a game manager his first 3 seasons. Hey, man. See, Antoine Hill said the Steelers were stacked when Ben was a rookie. Yeah. Ben was surrounded by veterans. Yeah. Who's a bust? Big Noriega, you saying somebody's a bust? Who you talking about, Kenny? Wow. See, that's why I said I respect you, man. It's some of the opinions we just don't agree on. Like, it's just me by nature. I'm not calling a dude a bust. Now, I'm not calling a rookie quarterback a bust at this stage of his career for any team. Because, again, I hate when I have to use these extreme analogies, but Josh Allen, let's all remember his rookie season. Peyton Manning, I mean, it's a plethora of quarterbacks that you could go back and say, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So to me, it's too soon to call him a bust, but I'm not going to stop you from doing that. So I'm not trying to discourage or change your opinion or get you to agree with me. I'm not about that. Whether you agree with me or not, I'm going to have mine, you're going to have yours. I'm just saying that's why we might not see eye to eye on certain things, because if you're ready to call Kenny a bust today, then you got it. I'll let you have that. But this is the only question I do have for you, Big Noriega. This is what I don't understand about people in general when there's a debate, regardless of what the topic is. Why are you calling it an excuse? Why do we do that when we have disagreements? Why do we say it's an excuse? Like, what excuse? What excuse? Like, I'm gonna just speak for me. I don't know about everybody else, but I'll speak for me. What is the excuse? What does it do for me if Kenny Pickett turns out or not? I didn't draft him. I remember on the draft show, I was upset too, because I wanted the potential and what it looked like Malik Willis might turn out to be, and who knows what he turns out to be. So I don't understand why, when there's a disagreement or if someone sees something differently, why does words like that come up? Excuses. Like, what are we talking about? None of us drafted this kid. None of us work for the Steeler organization. No. I know. I'm not saying you're talking to me in general, Noriega. I'm just speaking in general. We do that a lot as people, like when we disagree, and I don't understand that. I don't understand it. And hopefully you're not taking this any type of way. I mean, we just talking. We just having a conversation. T-Dog says he's confident in any team Tomlin puts out there this year was just a rebuild. Yeah, man, taking the Tomlin part out of it, because people get on me for talking about Tomlin. I took this as a rebuild year. I mean, I'm on record saying that, man. You can go back weeks ago. I didn't expect much out of this season, and again, it still stings when we lose games again, we could have won this game. I feel like we could have won the Patriots game. We could have won the Jets game. We execute a couple plays here and there in the Cleveland game. We could have probably won that. There's so many games, and again, without being biased, instead of being 3-7, I could see the Steelers but I think that's all I got, man. Yeah, Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts didn't play that well his first season either. And Jalen out there balling right now. So, and again, I use guys like Ryan Tannehill, man. However you feel about Ryan Tannehill, it didn't work out so great for him in Miami. We went to Tennessee, and for whatever reason, if you want to say it's the run game, which, yes, Derrick Henry has helped to that, and he fits their style, but Tannehill has become a better quarterback. So it's like, That's why I just can't call it so fast. That's just me. Not at the quarterback position. There's always room to grow. Now, I think a guy's potential, you can see it after a few years if nothing is changing. So even coming into season 2, if we don't see certain things start to change from Kenny, then you can kind of say, I'm not liking this trajectory. All I'm merely saying is I just can't call it this early. I just can't. Wow, that's right. Troy Aikman was bad. His first season. Y'all are right about that. Yeah, and you know what, Steelers cards? Maybe Kenny turns into that. Maybe he might not be this super duper franchise QB, but we might just put enough around him. So let's just see how this thing plays out, man. You know, let's see how it plays out. But I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, guys. Well, one more. Walter Worthy says, you could probably count on one hand the number of QBs that had a great rookie year. And I mean rookie, not first-year starter. You got a good point there. Got a good point there. Woo. T-Dog. That's a lofty comparison right there. You said you can see Pickett being a breeze with speed. Well, one thing about Drew Brees, bro, is Drew Brees had accuracy. Kenny gonna have to work on that. Kenny gonna have to work on his accuracy. So that's a lofty expectation. But all right, man, real quick, I'm gonna say this to you guys. First and foremost, man, if you're new, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, I don't know what to say. You know, if you're watching just to be watching, you know, go ahead and subscribe, man. Go ahead and become a part of the home team. Make sure you click on that notification bell as well so you know when streams are available. Somebody mentioned earlier about my gaming. Yeah, I do that too. You know, I have some gaming streams pop off and then here and there. How would you know I'm on if you're not subscribed and the notification is on? But outside of that, man, I hope everyone has a great Turkey Day. We'll just call it that. Enjoy your family. Enjoy the time off. I'm assuming hopefully most of you guys are off. Enjoy some good food and just enjoy, again, family and camaraderie with friends and loved ones and just reflect on that. You know, listen, our Steelers will be here. You know, this doesn't make or break us. We're just diehard fans, and it is what it is. This might just be that season where, you know, we got to hang our heads, man, for a little bit. But hey, like I said, this is going to be the one that's going to test who's the real fan. The real fan is thick and thin, bro. Through the ups and downs. And I'm here for the long haul. All right, so again, y'all have a great Turkey Day. Enjoy family. Watch some football. Catch up on rest. Stay safe. God bless. Good night. And like always, I thank you all for tuning in to Terrible Towel Tuesday. Peace.